I mean, Shannon, what do you think? Because I can hear it double because I think the mic and the speakers are too close. And
people need to put themselves on mute. There are a lot of people who are not on mute right now. And Chris can mute all the participants on his end too. I'm almost positive.
What should we do?
I see there's only 4 that aren't muted, and the people on the phone can't. So
People on the phone, shall we mute our phone using *6?
just trying to see where the feedback's coming from, Miriam.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Nick.
He's hooked up twice.
Who is, Steve?
Miriam is hooked up twice.
I'm hooked up twice somehow.
Chris, you could also try to make me a host and I could try to control people's microphones.
Well, see, Paul just moved something and it got quiet.
Yeah, that's much better.
Paul, do you have the magic hands?
Nope. I don't know what happened.
Okay, let's try it again. Everything sounds good here.
And you're a little bit quiet, Chris. I don't know.
Is that better?
No.
So the number.
Okay, so how do we?
Is that any better?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I've got my speaker all the way up.
Yeah, it's better, but yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not your speaker, it's your volume. You need to speak louder.
I will do that. All right, how about now? Is
Much
that
better.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Now let's start the roll. Albany,
Here.
Barnett, Bloomfield,
Here.
Brighton,
Here.
Brownington, Brunswick,
Here.
Cabot, Charleston, Concord, yeah. Robert's here.
You say Corinth?
Corinth, Danville,
Here.
Derby,
Irene, please mute yourself.
Here.
East Haven,
Here.
Glover, Granby, Greensboro,
Here.
Groton, Guildhall, Holland, no Daryl's here. Daryl Martin is here.
He did say in the chat he was here, so he can hear us.
Yep.
Irisburg,
Here.
Jay, Kirby,
The video.
Aren't you on? You have the video, right?
Do I?
Oh, start your video. I see. Okay.
Brian White is here. Lunenburg. Linda?
Here.
No, I'm not there. Oh,
You
oh,
are.
yeah.
Maidstone? Paulette?
Here.
Marshfield? Morgan? Newark?
Here.
Newbury?
Here.
Newport Town?
Here.
Norton?
Here.
Peacham? Peacham? I know Amber is here. iPhone Amber.
I only see two phones. I know one's Miriam.
I see an iPhone 2 Amber.
Oh, there you go. Yep. Still muted.
Amber, if you can unmute just to confirm your attendance, please.
You got an iPhone, just tap the screen and you'll see it come up.
Oh, sorry about that. Here.
Okay, thank you. Reigate.
Yeah.
Sheffield.
Yeah.
Stannard. Sutton.
Here.
Topsom. Troy. UTG.
Here.
Victory. Waterford.
Here.
Westfield.
Here.
Westmore.
You're still muted, Miriam.
Oh,
All right, Marion is here. Wheelock.
Yeah.
So I count 27.
I counted 28, but I counted fast, but
Okay.
might have double counted someone. I think, yeah, no, because there's two people for one town. So yeah, 27 towns.
Okay.
Perfect. So we're good. We'll call the Tuesday, October 14th, 2025 Northeast Kingdom Waste Management District Board of Supervisors meeting to order. We'll go to Article 2, which is any updates to the agenda. Hearing none, we'll move right on to Article 3, which is the approval of the minutes of the September 9th, 2025 meeting.
So move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second it. Irene.
Thank you. Any discussions, error corrections?
I just wanted to see if Rick and Mike got their Visa cards.
I discussed that with Michelle, but I'll have to follow up to see if they were actually delivered.
Thank you, Chris. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the approval of the minutes of the September 9th, 2025 meetings signify by saying aye.
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 If there's any opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. Article 4, which is the 2026 draft budget, which the executive committee pretty much approved on their end for the full board. Did everybody have time to go over it?
I tried to include in the notes in the packet the major changes or the highlights going from 2025 to 2026.
Yeah, that was actually a great job too, by the way, Chris. Thank you.
Yep.
Because our health insurance did take a decrease, so or a smaller increase, I should say, than normal. But is there any questions?
I can put the budget on the screen if it helps people, if they want to see it. I've also got a couple photos of the building maintenance things for the building here in Lindenville, if people want to see those. And we're open to any questions. I know Steve just had his hand up.
Should we make a motion first to approve the budget and discussion? That there is a vote required.
We can do both, Walter. I mean, we can have discussion now if there's any questions or concerns or anything, and then if we, but yeah, either way, I mean, if somebody wants to make a motion to accept the budget as presented, then absolutely.
Make the motion, we accept the budget as prepared and presented.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Thank you. Now, is there any discussion on the approved budget? Wow.
Steve.
Steve Gray?
Yes.
I've been asked if we would consider putting in a punch clock.
Yep.
What do they use now, Paul and Chris? I mean, I saw Paul there, but I mean, I should say Chris, but do they punch in now?
Right now, we do not have a time clock. Hours are tracked on paper timesheets in 2-week increments.
And is that done through Michelle or?
The sheets are in a folder in the office, so guys have to come in and fill them out daily. And some employees have asked for a time clock, and it is likely, Michelle and I have discussed it. We are getting pricing, and it's likely something that we would put in prior to 2026. So it would most likely be 2025 funds expended to do that, if we decide to do that. But it's looking likely. I think it would just increase accountability and also take some of the back and forth away with employees wondering what their coworkers are doing. So yeah, I think we're going to move in that direction.
You have anything else, Steve?
Yeah. Right now, I believe we have one broker. And Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, but when Audrey was here, they had like 3 or 4, and I know she would pin them against each other. And if they didn't come and get the load when they said they were, they lost it. Next person. So I think we should have at least 2 or maybe 3. Is
that a budget question, Steve? How does
whether it would get paid out of the budget somehow.
If I could comment on that, we've had brokers in the past, we also have the ability to use other brokers. But typically we've gone with one for years. There were certain items that years ago went to certain brokers because main broker didn't move those materials. I'm not saying that, you know, having multiple brokers is not a good thing, but typically we've relied on one broker. It seems like we'd be putting all our eggs in one basket, but the broker does the shopping. And we
Well, so that was going to be my comment too, Paul. Is the broker is the one that puts it on a load board, and then it's up to the people that are the companies to get on there and either bid on that work or just whatever, take it.
Yeah, so the pricing doesn't vary from one to another. They're all seeking the best price. So I don't know that that would improve anything. I know that paper is difficult to move right now, but that's difficult for everyone. It's not like our broker doesn't know call to get rid of certain materials.
Is that because the mills want either all newspaper or office paper?
Well, it's something like that. Yeah. What we've typically put together as mixed paper is no longer as popular as it used to be. And I think it's because there's less and less newspaper in it.
So Daryl had a comment too. For equipment repairs is $7,500. Enough in baler repairs. We spent over $16,000 last year.
Take a stab.
Yeah, I know there was a major baler retrofit, which should have been a one-time cost.
Yep.
And Paul can explain exactly what.
So there were two things that happened to the baler. One was having the hydraulic fluid completely changed, and that every few years. The other thing was shimming the ram, and that, again, that's like an every 8 to 10 years. So it's kind of odd that they both hit the same year. It probably won't again for quite a while, but you know, it's not like the baler is in disrepair and in constant need of repairs. It just so happened that two large items happen to correspond or happen in the same year. It's kind of the perfect storm of baler repair, and those, you know, maybe in 3 years, take a closer look at, you know, that line item, but it's not like you're going to need $16,000 annually to keep that baler running. It's running pretty well right now.
Did that answer your question, Daryl?
Yeah, and the other thing Chris just brought up, they raised the conveyor belt because it was resting on a motor. And I guess maybe that sagged over time, but that's been corrected too, and that won't have to be corrected again.
So we're confident we're going to be good at that price point anyway.
Yeah, I feel confident. Not up to me, but you know, Chris and I worked on the budget together, and I feel like baler maintenance won't be as high next year, or it shouldn't be.
Well, that's good enough for me. Does anybody else have any questions or concerns over the 26 draft budget?
Yeah, I got two more.
Go ahead, Steve.
Okay. You mentioned that the operator, whatever Corey Raymond's job title was, those duties were going to be shifted to other employees. So can you tell what responsibilities and which employees will be carrying those on?
So over before Corey left, he had been working fewer and fewer hours, and had kind of been phasing out over time. And he handled a lot of the hazmat stuff. I've taken on some of that in this since I started. We have at least a couple other employees that have shown an interest and have verbally said that they would like to get additional training so that they can handle those materials properly as well. And we've been handling the workload since Corey left. We really are not behind on anything at this point, and I don't see that changing.
What else did you have, Steve?
But number 50 on the maintenance, I talked to Chris about some of the things, but have you done any estimates on any of these yet?
No, they are built in the budget as placeholder numbers to make sure that we can make progress on some of these items. I have a couple photos here that can people see that?
Not yet.
Sure.
That was up.
Was it?
Yep.
And yeah, where the sinkhole out back, right?
Can people see that?
Yeah.
So this building is the end wall of the building, which is starting to bow, and the building itself in this area is 4 bricks thick, and this damage already goes to the 3rd brick out of 4, and it continues up the wall. You could see cracks forming above this. This is about waist high if you stand next to it, and there's at least 2 areas in the building like this that really need to be addressed. There are.
Is that next to the loading dock?
It's next to the door.
That's the back door.
Yeah, but there's a couple spots that are like that. I just happened to take a photo of that one because it was most accessible. Didn't have anything in front of it.
Is that where the scale used to be, Paul?
No, it's actually it's where the guys we stack material. It goes in straight lines, and as material comes out, the angle at which you approach has to be steeper and steeper. And what happens? Building was built. The brick on the inside, the mortar was softer than the outside. And so corners of boxes, corners of pallets, sometimes the forks impact those areas. And, in that particular picture, that area gets impacted repeatedly. Same thing happened with the cardboard pile years ago, and that area was repaired. I think the brick is holding up okay in that area. I think the other areas behind glasses make it.
Gotcha. And Steve, go ahead.
Ken, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, if Steve's done, did you say Ken?
Yeah,
Okay.
he just had his hand up for a while.
Ken has a question on our income coming in from the sale of recyclables, compost, no, not electronics, and scrap metal are all decreasing this next year. Why? It's under the revenues, the last section.
I know metal's in the tank right now, so.
Yeah, I think all those are projected to end the year lower. So that's just carried over into next year.
Are we actually collecting less material, or is the cost per ton changing?
It's the cost per ton. Except for electronics. The volume of electronics is decreased. Well, I shouldn't say the volume of electronics. Weight of the electronics is decreased. Think about there's so much than they used to be. You know, the console TVs and the I just think of the Sony Trinitron. I don't know why Sony, but he made the heaviest TVs I've ever handled. And now they're all flat screen. So that's a big difference. I don't know that the amount of electronics is decreasing. Certainly is.
Thank you.
Ton or the pound.
And if you think of computers, it used to be a large monitor, a tower, and now it's laptops. Everything is getting lighter and more portable.
Is there any more discussion on the 2026 draft budget?
One more.
Go ahead, Steve.
Number 85, the surcharge, I know it's the same amount, but it's 46,000 more.
That's because surcharge revenues are stronger than they ever have been. And it's unfortunate, but no matter what is done at the district, the amount of tonnage subject to the surcharge always goes up. So that's actually a conservative estimate, the surcharge revenue. When we looked at that, I think we're on pace to exceed that. And so, you know, that's why some of the other ones were adjusted down, because it was safe to assume that the surcharge amount. And I know you're probably thinking, well, maybe there were more construction projects. It really doesn't matter. From one year to the next, the amount of tonnage subject to the surcharge is always going up. Sometimes it's like health insurance, where it might only go up 1 or 2%. Well, health insurance doesn't normally go up that little, but other years it's 5 or 10%. So the real driver of that is the economy.
Of course, the last 2 years we've had floods. A little on anymore, but
3 years now.
yeah, but 3 years.
Yeah.
Rate change?
Rate not change.
No, it's 29.
Chris, is that a picture of what needs to be done into windows?
Yeah, there's numerous windows in the warehouse that are blown out. They're original glass. So plastic and cardboard are now covering gaping holes. And, you know, as we get to winter and 20 below and windy, we've got guys trying to work in this warehouse. And so I'd like to replace, you know, cover these areas with plexiglass, because there are times when boxes are leaned up against them. So yeah, I'd like to take care of at least the gaping holes in the building.
And in conjunction with that, on getting the waste oil heater working?
It's been serviced last week and it's up and running.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. And we don't have any shortage of waste oil. So
No, I contributed quite a bit to that.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any more discussion on the 2026 draft budget? Everybody's looked at it adequately. Everybody good? If so, I would take a. No, sorry, we already have a motion. So if there's no more discussion, all those in favor of the approval of the 2026 draft budget signify by saying aye.
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 If there's any opposed, nay.
I'll vote no on it.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
If I could just add something, the board approved the budget to bring forth for public hearing. board will have to have 2 public hearings and then vote on the budget prior to December 15th. If 2 public hearings are done, quickly, could vote on it in November, but typically what happens is, the 2 public hearings are conducted, and then court takes action, final action at the December meeting. But it could happen as early as the November.
Was there anything tonight?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
I said tonight we had a public hearing too, correct?
Oh, that was the second public meeting for the SWIP. At last week's meeting, we had no comments submitted, and tonight we had another public meeting prior to this meeting, and we had no comments submitted.
Perfect.
So my thoughts on the budget hearings would be to have them just prior, one in November, just prior to our regularly scheduled meeting, and then we could repeat that in December, just prior to the meeting, and then at the December meeting, we could do a final passage of the budget. If that sounds good to everyone.
Yep. So we passed the draft budget, and then we'll push it on till December. Ken, did you have something?
Yeah, we just heard a lot of comments there about the conditions of this old building of ours. Should there be anything we're doing this year to get a real assessment of what is the condition of this building and what needs to be done with it? Because we know it's been there a long time.
I would recommend if we're going to do an independent, thorough evaluation of the building, that's something that would have to be built into, I would say, the 27 budget at this point. If we wanted to have a structural engineer come in and look at this thing, it is old, it's immense, it's somewhat open to the elements, and already showing some signs of weakening in places. But I don't think that's something we can handle in-house. We just don't have the expertise to do that, and so we would want to spend some time and find the right person or firm to do that evaluation. And that's not going to be cheap. I know that.
And just to remind folks who haven't been on the board very long, I think it was $250,000 was put into the building in either 99 or 2000 as part of a federal grant, and the both ends of the building were going out. Trusses, a whole new roof system was put on. The trim was painted. The windows had been repaired. So, I think that areas that Chris has identified, those would be the immediate concerns. Structurally, this building is rock solid. If you look at the roof line, it's straight. So there's a need kind of structural assessment. There's no sign of insect infestation, ants or anything, eating through the wood. We have had a couple of contractors, when they used to dump cardboard, hit some of the roof trusses, but we did have an engineer through our insurance company design the shoring up of that particular truss. So I feel like the walls and the roof, it's really not much more than that, are in pretty good shape, except for the areas of brick and the, of course, the windows.
The biggest concern that we hear from employees and the public that use our facility is the condition of the parking lot out front, and then the side of the building where all of our containers are and a lot of material storage. And
the fenced in area.
Yeah, it's a combination of, railroad tracks jutting up and potholes. And it's extremely tough on our equipment, skid steers and forklifts, our trucks. And then out front, it's a public danger at some points because of the frozen puddles and just very uneven surface. So that might be more of the target area for improvement over the next probably, within a 5-year period, I would say. And I've talked with Paul about experimenting with some different materials and seeing how they hold up, such as stay mat or possibly getting material from Pike from when they grind pavement and see how that holds up. But it's tight there, and so we have vehicles turning at pretty sharp angles, and it tends to grind up the material. Skid steers are notoriously tough on flooring of any type. So yeah, I think some exterior, we need to put some thought and planning into exterior improvements for the surface, just so we don't wear out our equipment prematurely.
Awesome. Well, nobody else hasn't. Go ahead, Steve. You got something?
Would the public hearings be at 6 o'clock then?
Yeah, most likely 6 to 6:30.
Yeah.
And then start the regular meeting.
And you'll put
All
that
right.
in paper.
Oh, it'll be warned. Yep, it'll be properly warned.
Well, we'll get into Article 5 then, the draft policy for the disposal of tires for nonprofits.
So this is something where we had discussed this first at the last meeting. I just put something on paper to give us a starting point. It's something that the board can consider changing or clarifying or adding to or subtracting or deciding maybe not to do anything at all. But I wanted something on paper so that we could have a discussion tonight about this subject.
Now, what we all we charge is our cost now, so it's not like we can charge them just cost, right?
Yeah, the price structure is currently set to try to recover any cost to us or accept them.
So then we have to look at whether, I mean, because we talked about this last month too, and one of the biggest issues we came up with was, okay, if we let one do it, then they're all going to want to do it. And then people are going to start disposing of their tires on the side of the road or wherever to just have towns pick it up to get rid of them. So I don't know.
That excludes.
See, I had built in some sideboards for you to consider and made some recommendations that, we could put a hard limit on the number of organizations. We could put a hard limit on the number of tires accepted in a calendar year. There's a lot of different ways to approach this.
Right. Paul, what was I know last month you told us, but there's a couple, something in Pasumsic or something that you've done this prior to a couple places.
Yeah, and it was basically, they approached us. They were river cleanouts specifically. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I think I don't think we've ever given anybody like a free pass, but I think we charge half price, and I think the most tires we've ever done that for would be around 100.
But even at that, so we're subsidizing 50% of that price at 100. So, is there something like maybe we should cap it at say 50 tires for nonprofits or something? Or I mean, we obviously have to do something, but we can't lose.
That's in the policy. There's proposals to address that in the policy.
So then, what kind of a motion do we need? Because if we're gonna have something in the policy to I guess stiffen up the wordage on what you would need. I mean, what is it we're looking for?
I think from the operations side of things, we can only lose so much revenue
Right.
in a certain year. And so I think that would be probably the first consideration. And then how many organizations do you want to split that revenue loss between? So I had kind of come up with, maybe it's 2 organizations a year and they can have a discount on 50 tires each. And then when you hit the 100 tire, they may not collect that many when they have their event, but we need to approve them up to a certain number. If you gave them $1 off at 100 tires, it's $100. So I mean, it seems to me like that's a good trade-off to help these organizations in the community without much of a financial impact on us. But again, I just wanted to get something on paper for discussion, and it's obviously, I'm looking for input on this.
Okay. So at this point in time, how many organizations do we have disposing tires here now?
Nonprofits?
Yes.
Was it one?
There was one request made this year.
Okay.
And there are years where no requests
are made. Okay. So it would be, in my opinion, that probably that $100 wouldn't make or break Northeast Kingdom Waste District, and it would go a long ways towards putting some goodwill in the communities, as long as we set parameters to make it work.
Well, and if that's the case too, I'm wondering, Dustin had a point. I mean, I don't mind it especially if it's only one. We're talking about only one organization that's come forward in the last how many years?
Well, one came forward this year. They don't come forward every year, but I couldn't tell you over time. We may have had this request 5 to 10 times in 26 years.
So the current verbiage, so why can't it just be under the board's discretion as needed? So as somebody comes to the district and says, "Hey, we're this nonprofit, we're looking to do a clean out. There's potentially X amount of tires. Is there something we can do?" And then approve it from there. I mean, if we just had a blanket, we can accept up to one nonprofit every year, and then leave it up to the board's discretion on what we want to do for each individual case.
Well, the board may not meet in time. If I get a call that an organization wants to do one this coming weekend or something, I guess that would be the only drawback. And then also being consistent,
right,
I think is the way to go.
So then maybe we say, okay, it's going to be one nonprofit a year. I mean, we haven't had any more than that, so we'll do one nonprofit a year at up to $100 or 100 tires, and with a discount of, say, whatever, if it's the $1, something to help, whatever the case may be.
This is Jake from Westfield. I get a little concerned about something like this because you say you haven't had many requests, but if the word gets out that we're doing this, you're going to get all kinds of requests. And unfortunately in today's world, there's so many people that take advantage of things that they know that if there's a river cleanup or something, they're going to throw in their tires that's behind their house too. I'm not saying that would happen all the time, but I think we're opening ourselves up to something that could be and I hear that you've put some sideboards on this and, and so on. So I'm not totally against this. I just want us to think about the reality that of some of the things that would probably not go that well. That's all.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that as well, Jake. So
Nick, this is Walter.
go ahead, Walter.
I'd like to ask all the Zoom members, have they read the policy that Chris put together? Because you're asking a lot of questions that are already answered in the printed policy that Chris put out. And I hope that everybody has read that beforehand, before commenting on all this. The only concern I have is number 2, the eligibility requirements. And as it says, to qualify for discount, an organization must, the first bullet point is, be officially registered as a tax-exempt charitable nonprofit organization based within one of Northeast Kingdom Waste Management District's members town. The only concern I have on that is that it is based in a member's town, but they're not accepting tires from a geographical location that is outside district. Say cleaning up the Passumpsic River in St. Johnsbury. That's the only addendum I would like to see on that. But I hope everybody has read this, because it's fairly comprehensive and it answers all the questions that were just discussed for the last 20 minutes.
So you're saying the tires that are collected should come from
the district.
Yeah, I agree.
Not only the organization, but the tires.
I agree.
Jan.
Yeah, Chris, the only thing that concerns me is if the tires are being collected in a particular town, why shouldn't they go to the town that they came from and have them take care of the particular problem? I mean, I would think that's something that the town should do as opposed to the Northeast Kingdom Waste District, quite honestly. In a cleanup in the river, yeah, maybe, but even in a river situation, they're gonna probably have gotten there from the same town that they've been taken from. And it just occurs to me that maybe that should be something that the town should have to take care of and not the waste district. I mean, it's just like they're pushing it off on the waste district because maybe they went to the town and the town said, no, we're not going to do it. So they said, well, why don't you try the waste district? That's the only thing I'm concerned about.
The policy says that towns would not be eligible. So if a nonprofit goes to a town, the town's going to have to eat the cost because they're going to bring them to the waste district anyway. And then the waste district's going to charge full price. So you're talking about public dollars one way or the other. But going back to Walter's point, though, I think it's going to be difficult sometimes to find that the organization and the location are in the district. You might want to consider just allowing tires that are collected from district locations, regardless of where the nonprofit is located. Because, you know, if they're willing to pick up tires in the river basin in a district town, why would they be penalized if their physical office location was outside a district town?
Well, my thinking there was that if it was a national organization such as the Boy Scouts, but it was a local chapter, a local troop that was doing it. That, you know, if the Danville troop wanted to do a river cleanup, that we wanted to make sure that they were at least a nonprofit group, but based in the district somewhere, or a local Rotary Club.
Well, I don't have it. I didn't print it, and I don't have it in front of me. But there was limits on tire size, and that's why the discussion was good, because there was questions in there on quantity, 100, 200, whatever, and then there was something about tire size, and I forget now. I'd have to look it up, but I mean, it's obviously the policy is meant so we can discuss it and see what we want to change. Obviously, we don't have to vote on it tonight. You know, we can keep this on the agenda and get something firmed up maybe next month or even the month after if there's more questions or concerns. But I mean, it doesn't sound like this happens very often. Well, like I said, I mean, there's been years where nobody's asked, and there's been years where it's just one nonprofit. So, but I agree with Jake too. I mean, we have to consider in this day and age, a lot of people are gonna, you know, if towns figured out that there was something going on, I mean, obviously it would catch on after a while, but if towns aren't going to be, if it's in the policy and towns know that they're not going to be accepted into that, then they might not clean up as many tires as they used to, and they might try to wait for somebody. I don't know. It could be good and it could be bad. I'm not saying either way, but I mean, we just got to shore up some of the questions in there on quantity and stuff.
Okay, if you accept one or two organizations per year, okay, and you limit it to a certain number of tires, a certain size, I don't see how anybody's gonna get by that part of the policy.
And that's just the stuff, Dustin, that we got to shore up. You know, like the discount amount, we know it's $1 off per tire or half price up to X amount of tires, but the total number of tires is up to, you know, debate. You know, should we do 100 tires maximum per year? You know, and then you have tires. Okay, well, if it's automotive, up to X amount, that's fine. But what happens if there's a Joe Blow farm? You know, there's a lot of farms that are on the river, and a tractor tire gets in there, and they actually get one out. You know, now it's
Let's put that in the policy. It's
right.
pretty easy. You're gonna accept passenger car tire up to size, up to the amount, and up to the times a year.
So we know we're going to do what, one time a year. We know that we're going to be $1 or half price. So I guess we just have to. I mean, Chris, what else are you looking for that's in the? I'd have to pull it. You know, I know you have it on the screen share, but I didn't.
So I would recommend if there is interest in having a policy, that we start conservative, because you don't know what the unintended consequences could be, or if someone finds a loophole. So we can start conservative. You know, I recommended 2 organizations a year. We could give them $1 off per tire, and the maximum number of tires eligible in any one year is 100. So look at it this way: our total risk is $100.
Right.
So I find it hard that it could go wrong, risking $100 in a calendar year. So I do have in here automotive tires no larger than 20 inches. So
that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. So that would eliminate. We don't want farm tires, because those are heavy and are going to cost us more. And
implement tires.
if we limit it to, 2 organizations and the first one gets 90 tires, then the next people who ask can bring 10 in. They can bring in all that they find in the river, but the discount will only be for the first 10. So that limits our loss of revenue to $100 in the first year. And that's.
And Nick?
And policies are always subject to change. All it will take is discussion at one meeting to change it to something else. So this isn't perfect.
That's what I wanted to tell Nick. A number 5 and what Chris put together under program management. It says policy changes. It says Northeast Kingdom Waste Management District Board of Supervisors reserves the right to modify or terminate this program at any time without prior notice. So that completely absolves the district at any point in time. And that's part of the policy.
Yeah, no, and I remembered that part, Walter. I just want to get the questionable items on here put in black and white, so then we can approve the policy with the corrections and have it done.
Why don't I incorporate? I can make these changes and have it ready for reconsideration for the next meeting. If people want to look it over, if you didn't get a chance, go ahead. You can also get a hold of me over the next month before the meeting if you want and provide comments.
Yeah, I would put in what we talked about tonight, unless anybody else has obviously anything they want to comment on it quick. But under the total amount.
Comment for you, Nick.
Go ahead, Ken.
2 things. Number 1, Chris, good job. First time to come up with a proposal for us or something like this. Good job. My other comment is a little confused about the discount amount. It says $1 off per tire, half price up to 50 tires.
That was just giving you options. That was just giving you options of how you might want to do this.
Okay, so we're sticking with just one of those 2.
Yep, you could either take $1 off, or just go half price, whatever your fancy is. Those were just options.
Gotcha. Yeah. So most of the discussion has been about $1 off per tire, and we've not been discussing its half price, which I think our tires are around $6 a piece. What do we currently charge?
If it's 18 inches and under, they're $3 each.
Okay, so half price would be $1.50.
Up to the 20-inch tire would be $9.
That'd be $4.50 off then if you did half price. So I think your $1 off per tire is a little easier to keep track of.
One price.
Chris, we have a limit of 100 tires. Suppose we only have one organization. They're still limited to 50, which means we've essentially have 50.
I think it was, we're open to, if we have 10 organizations that want to bring in 10 each, I don't see why that would be a problem. But
well, it
if
says
the first one brings in 90
per calendar year, and you recommend starting with 2.
Yeah. I guess it's just, again, those are options. It's open for discussion and what you would like to see. And I'll write the policy to fit what you would like to see.
So the total number of tires eligible per year, 100, 200, you recommend 100 annually to start. And I guess what I'm saying is if there was only one organization, could they bring 100 tires or would they be limited to 50?
If they brought 100, then the program's over for that year.
So,
they would get a $100 discount.
Right.
And then that would be it.
So do we want to, so Chris, you're going to shore up this stuff for next month. So we'll put the number of eligible organizations to 2 for now. The discount amount, we'll do the $1 off per tire, and then total number of tires eligible per year, we'll do 100. And everything else looks like it's pretty much perfect.
Okay, I'll make those changes.
I mean, unless somebody wants to make a motion to approve that as written with the corrections added, and then we can get it done now. But that's up to the board.
What's
No,
this?
nobody.
This is Jake here.
Go ahead, Jake.
I'll pipe in a little. A lot of the questions, and I had read this before as well. A lot of the questions, I think it was good discussion, and it sounds to me like we've kind of got consensus. So I'm not sure if there's any need to hold it off to the next meeting. So
Yeah, that's why I said, Jake, if anybody wanted to make a motion, we could do it tonight too. That's fine.
yeah. So that being said, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve this policy with the changes as we discussed.
I'd second
This
that.
is Gina. I second it.
Thank you.
Okay, so just so we're clear on what we're voting on, we're gonna do 2 organizations per year, $1 off per tire, up to 100 tires per year. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Correct.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the policy? Hearing.
I have one point.
Go ahead, Paul.
The tire size is currently set at 20. The cutoff is 18 for
$3 tire.
For a $3 tire. I guess if it was a 19-inch tire or a 20-inch tire, it would still be $1 off, so it doesn't really matter. But I just wanted to point that out, that, you know, those tires are more expensive. And
Yep.
$1, you know, is still a discount, but.
Any other discussion?
I think just wanting to limit the financial impact on the district in the first year that we try this. So caps our risk at $100. So.
Yeah, which I think is great for the first year. Like I said, we can change it anytime. So, any other discussion?
The difference between a 18 or 19-inch tire versus a 20 is a big difference. 20 is a truck tire, heavy truck tire. 19s are of smaller tractors, vehicles, tow behind vehicles, something like that. But there's a big difference in that. It's different heavy structure of 20-inch tires. Okay. Yeah. But the 20-inch pickup tire weighs a hell of a lot less than a 20-inch truck tire.
But it's only gonna be $1 off no matter what, so they'd be paid.
It's gonna be $1 off no matter what.
So they'd be paying the risk.
The biggest bargain for them is bringing in smaller tires because they're getting a 1/3 discount. If they want to haul in a bunch of 20 inchers, then it's a pretty slim discount. Yeah.
You're gonna be pretty stout to get to that. Sounds better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the approval of the policy for the discounted tire disposal for nonprofits as written with corrections, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
If there's any opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. We'll go to Article 6. Any updates, financial programs, etc.
Okay. I wanted to just give some updates here about, so the hauler exemption after our last meeting where you approved that being submitted to A&R, that was done. We have not heard back either way. yet, and I'll follow up on that soon. It is part of our SWIP, and since we're done with our 2 public SWIP hearings, we want to get this process over the finish line, so I'll follow up with A&R on that. And again, we did not receive any public comment on our SWIP at the 2 public hearings. And from what I've heard from Paul, that's not all that unusual. Financials, we did receive the entirety of our SWIP grant, which, and Paul can kind of detail this. It's usually received in 2 amounts at different times of the year. And this year they sent us our entire check, the entire amount, which was $76,000. Which, looking at, when we're looking at just where we are financially through September, it kind of skews the outlook of how what our surplus is. We went from a September deficit to a October surplus because of that. And the impact would be that normally some is received, about half of it is received in midsummer, and then the other half is received early in the next calendar year. So it hits the account in 2 times. So now this is causing us to have a larger than normal budget for this time, surplus for this time of year. So when we get further along in the year and we're trying to close out financials, we'll have to have a discussion of how we allocate those funds, because it's going to be, we're going to kind of need to stretch those to cover those lean winter, early and late winter months when volumes tend to be down some after the holiday season. And I think, Paul, if you want to elaborate kind of on that, how it impacts the district.
So typically, as Chris mentioned, the SWIP is paid out in 2 installments. The state has actually asked us to do it in 1 installment. They gave us the okay to do it differently for a couple of years, and it just seemed to make sense. It was one of the last things that Chris and I worked on together, was submitting the SWIP grant for reimbursement. But he's right. In the past, depending on where we were going to land at the end of the year financially, we would either ask for the second half of the SWIP grant in the current calendar year, or defer it to the next calendar year to beef up cash flow. So, I think Chris is right. Don't get too excited that we're going to end the year with a $62,000 surplus, because we will need operating expenses, for the first couple of months of the year. So just keep that in mind.
Chris?
Oh, yep.
Okay, so at this point in time, what products we have that are available for shipment soon?
We're always building up different commodities and shipping. It's cyclical, so it's not like we're storing anything up. We do have, like right now, we do have paper to go out. We've got other material that will go out through the end of the year as normal.
Yeah.
It doesn't, what I just told you doesn't change the, the way that we ship or the frequency. Our shipping is based on when we can have enough bales to fill a truck, and then we'll call it.
Okay.
I know everyone has been concerned about the foam, the styrofoam machine, and I'm happy to report that it was delivered back to the district on Friday, and it arrived in good shape. So I had an electrician meet me here. He actually came Friday to look at our electrical panel and how we could protect that against accidents in the future, such as power surges or brownouts. And so I received a price today for the surge protection, which is only going to be about a $225 part and 1 hour of labor to do that, which is certainly an investment worth making to protect equipment that costs as much as we have. And so that will go on the main panel, and it will protect our large equipment. It'll protect computers. It'll protect the baler, the foam machine. So that work is scheduled to be done next Wednesday. So the electrician will be installing the surge protector and reconnecting the wiring to the foam machine next week. Yeah.
So when can we start collecting foam at our recycling centers?
So we have a massive backlog of foam here at the district. And so it's going to take us a few weeks to work through that. I can have a better idea once we start processing to see what the rate is. But we've got between 75 to 100 large bags of styrofoam to process here. And that is all, material from your towns, but we've been holding it here waiting for the machine to come back. So we don't have any additional storage room. So we would like to clear the backlog that we have prior to accepting more material. And I can provide updates. I'm hoping it's going to be, before the next meeting. I can say, give towns the go ahead, but I really need to see what the process rate is once we get going.
Ken's got a question too, Chris.
Okay, go ahead, Ken.
Chris, you mentioned about the electrical that it was going to be a surge protection. We'd heard discussions in previous months that it might have been more of a brownout condition where it goes low voltage. What did the electrician say about this?
So it was never, when the machine was diagnosed in New Jersey, they didn't say exactly, what caused that damage. Paul was there when it happened, I assume, and
yeah, it was definitely a brown.
Yeah.
Our baler went down, and other organizations throughout town. And my understanding was it happened up and down the entire eastern seaboard that same day. But it was definitely a lack of power or adequate power. But I think the fix will address both insufficient power and too much power. Is that correct, Chris?
Yeah, that's the electrician is more confident in surge protection, but there is some protection from this piece of equipment during brownouts as well. And the way it works, it kind of sacrifices itself and burns out when there's an event, and it lets power continue to, after the power is restored fully, it can go to the equipment, but then that part would have to be replaced again. So while the machine was in New Jersey, there was concern because they did fear that there may have been some damage to the cutting pieces inside the blades. That turned out not to be the case. So the electrical part will be covered by our insurance. So the electrical piece inside was replaced. That's covered under insurance. And then round trip shipping of the unit to New Jersey is covered by insurance. They did find some small pieces of metal inside the machine, which they removed. And so the manufacturer is saying that the machine is ready to run and in good condition. And once it's connected and running, I'll be updating them and the insurance company on that.
Chris, Ken here again. Did the electrician say there was a different component he could offer at a different price that would do a better job at protecting us from brownouts?
No, he did not, but I can follow up on that to see if there is an item that could do that.
Thank you.
All right, I think that's about all I've got for updates. Unless people have other questions.
I have one quick question on that. Is it possible that the operators, if they're operating it and we have a brownout, that they know to shut the machine down instantly? Is there a procedure in place?
We're going to have a training for folks who operate this machine prior when we first get it running again, because as was mentioned, some metal was found in the machine. So that metal had been fed in at some point. And we're just going to go through a basic training again to get folks familiar with what should and shouldn't happen as they load the machine. Removing tape from styrofoam, making sure there aren't any small metal parts hidden in the styrofoam. And, that's also something to bring back to your towns, the people that are taking in material, trying to be careful about what comes in the styrofoam, making sure it's as clean as possible. That would help us here as well. But we do intend on doing a training at startup just to make sure we protect the machine we got back.
To answer that question, Ken here again, there is no indication when you're using it that there is low voltage coming in. It's like using your vacuum cleaner. You have absolutely no idea.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll follow up and ask specifically about brownouts and if there's something that the electrician can do to help us get through those as well.
Well, I think that the machine actually had that built into it, but there were other issues with it, and that's why it was sent. If it happens again, I think it should be fairly easy to identify what shut it down. There are fail safes in the machine. We had someone look at it and they couldn't find it. So it might just be a matter of finding a different electrician to try and troubleshoot it.
Yeah, because it's possible that, and I know in some instances, if you have a loss of power, it's the surge when the power comes back that really does the damage. And if you got the surge protection built in now, that should eliminate that, I think. I'm not an electrician, I just play one in the meeting.
Did you, Chris, did you have anything else under updates after the foam?
No, I don't.
Did anybody else have any questions on the densifier or anything, or? If not, we'll go to other business. Don't all jump at once. If there's
I actually have a comment. I had some food in my mouth while you asked for questions, Nick, on the densifier. And one thought I just had is if a surge happens off hours and disables that protection we have, and how would we ever know about that? How would we know that the surge protector has been disabled with a power outage?
The surge protection device will have an LED light on it,
Okay.
which will indicate that it's in an operable, healthy status. And so if we know that we had an event, that can be checked, and the machine will be manually shut down at the end of every day. So in the off hours, it's not like it's idling on, it'll be shut off. That should limit.
And by shut off, there's a switch, a breaker, separate breaker at the wall that shuts the machine down. So no power would be going through it.
Disconnect.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're covered for my thought about that incident. Great. Perfect.
Thank you, John. Anybody else have anything? If not, I take a motion to adjourn. There a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Never is. All those in favor of tonight's adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Never is. You all have a wonderful night. Thank you for the participation.
Good night, everyone.
all.
Take care.
Okay.